Testing one, two, testing one, two. I finally got a new camera. There should be no more audio issues, no more bullshit. It's been too long. It's been too long. I've had way too many fuck ups for a long, long period of time. So, to get a new camera, to get a new phone, all of it. Ugh. If I fucking check this and the audio is messed up, I don't even know what I'll do. But the audio should be clear. The picture should be clear. Oh man, it's exciting. It's exciting. So, anyway, how do I sound? How do I look? All right, so Ross Bird, who's been a patron of mine for a while, he informed me that I've never done anything for him for the Patreon. And he requested Raw, which is a film that I saw when it came out and I loved. And when he requested it, I was like, hell yeah, man, I'd love to rewatch that. I'd love to talk about it. And I went back and I rewatched it, and I loved it even more than I did the first time. So that's fantastic. And this is definitely not going to be for everybody. This is a much more artistic film, and this might be boring to some, but I just think it's a gorgeous, bizarre, unsettling film. So let's talk about it. Now, this is a film from 2016, and it is a directorial debut. It's incredible what some people can accomplish with their first film. Really, it is. I mean, just, with Ari Aster's Hereditary, Robert Eggers' The Witch, or even someone obvious like a Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. It's just like, it really is amazing what someone can accomplish in their first go. Like, that they can make a better film in their first try than most directors will do in their entire career combined, some of them. But yeah, this is an incredible debut, and if memory serves, I don't think they've done a film since, so definitely be looking out for that when it happens, unless I'm mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, as always. But this is a French film, and we get this opening where this person jumps out in front of a car. This other person swerves out of the way, of course, not to hit them, crashes, mortally wounding them, and then we see that person get up and walk over to the car. So we don't really know what the hell's going on there. Of course, I know now, as you do if you've seen this movie, and spoilers, obviously. It's weird to say that at this point, but you never know. There's always new people to the channel. But a very cool, mysterious opening that makes us wonder, what's going on here? So, in the opening, after that, our introduction to our main girl here, she is at a buffet, and she's accidentally given us a little teeny bit of meat, and they're vegetarians, and of course, the person who's at the thing is talking about protein, well, you don't want any protein? Where are you gonna get your protein? It's, if you've ever been a vegetarian, or especially a vegan, that's the question that will haunt your fucking dreams for years to come. Where are you gonna get your protein? Where are you gonna get the protein? Where are you gonna get your protein? It's so stupid. It's such a stupid question that would take 2 seconds to research to understand how fucking stupid it is. But anyway, but she accidentally gets some meat in there, and I dated somebody for many years, mother of my children, and she was a very hardcore vegetarian / vegan, depending on the week. And if meat was even in like the vicinity of food, she wouldn't touch the fucking shit for no reason. So in this movie, you know, um, she has that in there, and it's just like a tainted meal that can't be touched. Which, you know, I get it. It's their thing, but the mom freaks out and is like, goes up there and yells at him, and you're like, And because I've been around a person like this, I understand that, but you know, I think it very much leaves that question of like, why is she freaking out so much? And we very much find out in this movie. And then, like when they drop off the kid at school, and the mom's like, well, maybe we should wait for your sister. And the dad's like, peace. He's like, all right, honey, bye, love you. Gets in the car and just gone. Yeah. And then there's a hazing ritual, which I've talked about on the channel a lot. Hazing rituals for colleges. So stupid. All this, like, you know, trying to pledge for fraternities and whatnot. That stuff is so stupid to me. But just the hazing in this now, if it's fun hazing, I'd be about it. And it kind of turns into it a little bit in this particular scene, because they do like take them to a party where everyone's like getting naked and probably getting laid. So that doesn't sound like the worst hazing that I've ever heard of. But, you know, later on when they're making them eat like raw rabbit kidney. Fuck that. And like everyone's just lining up and they're just making them do it. No. I don't care what, you know, what I get out of it. I'm not interested. No thank you. I'm good. But people are just, I don't know, people are just so apt to fall in line and just act like the good little sheep that they are. And I hate to be that guy that's like, oh my God, I'm so above the fray. I'm so not a sheep. It's not the way I try to sound at all, but it's just true. So I guess it's the way I sound, but I don't mean to sound like that. But what can you do? And yeah, so they make him crawl to this party where one guy is like, slut it up, girls, and these French chicks just boom, they show off their tits, and I'm like, I need to be at that party. Good old French girls with their hairy armpits. Although when her sister sees her hairy armpits, she makes her wax her vagina. So, and then this is when are introduced to our gay roommate character, and then I like all of the cool one shots of the party, just kind of traipsing along the landscape of this party that they're at, and then it like kind of focuses in on this slaughtered lamb, I guess is what you'd call it. And that kind of plays with the antics. Even though these are like veterinarian students, they seem to be very like kind of callous with their you know, interactions with animals, or their connection to animals. You would think that veterinarians were a little bit more respectful of animals' life. But then again, there's like a lot of humor and such when doctors go to medical school and they are around cadavers, and you know, you're just around them so much that you get used to it, and you kind of act like you normally would act around anything. You know, and of course there's people that aren't like that, and then there's people who are like that. And in this, it just seems like these people really have no kind of like respect for animals, even though they're veterinarians, like dousing each other in their blood and like eating parts of their body as a ritual. And I don't know, it's just like, really, veterinarians? Wow. Okay. And then the songs that they sing when they're like hazing them are like these insanely overly male driven songs about like cocks and all this shit. And there's a bunch of chicks singing it. It's just further proof of how sheepish people can be. Like a bunch of women who were marching and singing about their hard cocks and stuff. It's like, what? What? And then, yeah, so our main lady here, she's pressured into eating meat by her sister, which now that I think about it, I would assume her sister did on purpose so that they'd have that connection. And maybe she felt bad for it, or maybe she didn't ever want her to see her how she actually was, so that's why she was pushing her away. Because throughout the movie, the older sister, who's a fucking babe and a half, and actually looks very similar to my ex-girlfriend, who also looked very similar to Brody Dahl from the Distillers. She she's like very loving of her sister in certain scenes, and then she's so dickish in other scenes. So typical siblings, I guess. But to me, it was just like, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, was she pushing her away on purpose? Because she didn't want her to see her how she actually was. Like, get the fuck out of here. You can't stay here tonight. I need to go feed. Or did they really have that kind of back and forth relationship? I don't know. And did she purposely, I mean, she did force her to eat the meat, and she would know the consequences of her actually doing that. Like, she's once she's tasted meat, her blood lust can't be quenched. I'm sure that this movie would be analyzed, and somebody would find all sorts of messages against meat eaters, that this is like a pro-vegan movie. I guess you could make that argument. I mean, that argument is, I guess, yeah, you could make it. I'm not going to, but I definitely could see it being made. I just take the film more at face value and then try to analyze some of the deeper meanings without getting pretentious about it. But I could see a lot of people finding this film to be pretentious, which, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It works for me, so it doesn't feel that way to me personally. And then once they get doused in blood, I like that they go to class covered in blood. Like, imagine just walking around and just drenched in blood. Reminds me of the Pulp Fiction scene. Cops tend to notice a car, a car drenched in blood. That's this here. But I guess when everyone's covered in blood, you don't think much of it. But the teachers must understand that this has been a ritual for years, and they just let it go. And then she gets rashes all over her body from eating this, which, it's funny, I don't think about any of this stuff when I go to record. Rashes. Why would she be getting rashes? Is that like her dominant persona kind of coming through, her carnivorous, cannibalistic self, almost like a shedding of who she once was? I don't know, because she's peeling, her skin is peeling, like she's changing, right? I don't know, I'm making this shit up as I go along. It literally didn't even occur to me that the rash might actually mean something. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, she's allergic to the meat that she had. And then I'm like, oh, now I'm sitting here talking about it. I'm like, oh, wait. That probably has some meaning. No matter how hard I try, I can't stop. I can't stop the yawn. I haven't yawned once. I'm not even slightly tired. That's what's really funny. I don't feel tired at all. It's the talking. It's because I talk so much without breathing. Anyway. And we find out that she is a virgin. And yeah, she she gets confronted in the hall because she's not in the proper dress attire to go to a party later. So they're like, fuck this rookie shit and make her put on a diaper. Jesus Christ. No way. No way I'd wear that thing anywhere. And her sister's a total bitch, as I said, but it's just like she is and then she isn't, and then she is and then she isn't. But she's a fucking babe and a half to me, so she can do anything she wants. And then when they're on the bus, they drive past the accident from the opening of the movie. So the sister pushed her away. Did she do that in the morning of? And then are the cars the same? I'd have to go back and look at the cars because this seems like this is something she does. But she can't continue to keep doing it in the same place. I mean, somebody's got to catch on eventually, or they're going to put up like a stop sign or fucking something. Like if everyone just keeps crashing in that area. And one thing I don't think is fully realized or explored here is that our main girl, she is like a brilliant veterinarian prodigy. The teacher talks about basically how he doesn't like her and no other students will because she knows it all and that everyone else has to try so hard and she doesn't. I don't think that this is properly conveyed in the film. I think this is one failure of the film is just like that's a line dropped, but then it's never ever really brought up again and it's not really ever explored upon or illustrated very well. Like to me, her mind and like her understanding of that stuff is not not apparent at all. Like if he didn't say that, I would never think she was a prodigy student. I would just think she misses a lot of class and is focused more on eating people than work. I don't see anything in this outside of that line to suggest that she's some like fucking savant or something, that she's some total veterinarian genius. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting when he said that. I was like, really? Okay. I like how she tries to eat her own hair to, you know, abate some of the hunger issues that she has towards human flesh. And then when her and her sister are up on the roof and they're peeing, standing up, and her sister like pushes her pussy out and actually projects the urine forward. Is that possible, girls? Can you do that? Can you like angle your vagina to where it literally kind of not straight line but comes out of you enough that you're not going to be pissing all over your feet? She does it in this. I don't know how realistic that is. I know that they make those like little pea cup penis things for women. I think those are a joke. Does anybody actually use those things? And why would you need to outside of just the convenience of standing up? But I feel like those would be really hard to aim. I don't know. I don't know. I actually prefer peeing sitting down, but I think I got that from kids. I don't think I I don't think I peed sitting down almost ever before children. But like once you have children, any moment you can have to like relax and sit down and just hang out and just kind of put your head down. I've just gotten very used to it. So like when I'm at work, I'm on my feet all the time. So then like I'll go in the bathroom and I'll be like, fuck, dude. And I just sit down even when I don't have to do anything else but pee, and I'll just sit there. I don't know. And I've gotten so used to it now. It's like feels odd for me to stand anymore and pee. So, yeah. Anyway, but can you do that? Women, ladies, have you ever tried to pee and like angle your vagina in a way? But she's standing straight up. She's just kind of like, bending her pelvis to be able to urinate straight. I thought that was, yeah, definitely interesting. And then she finds the same cream in her sister's medicine cabinet. suggesting or telling us outright that her sister had the same rashes. So the sister also got her rashes. She also became the cannibalistic um, person that she became there. So probably around her hazing, she ate some rabbit, because she was forced into it, and because of that, she kind of embraced her dark side and went out and fed. So what that is, what the actual shedding is, as I said, it's probably just as it sounds. Um, so then she sees her sister's armpits and decides, like, well, you're hairy there. We've got to wax your pussy. We got to go. Now she says I had a Brazilian, and then she goes in and she just is waxing the side of her vagina, just the bikini line. It's not a Brazilian. A Brazilian is the whole shebang. So I thought that was interesting. But she didn't say, I'm going to give you a Brazilian. So I guess technically she could be like, well, I get a Brazilian, but all you need is at least this, right? Um, when I was in beauty school, we learned waxing. And so we would wax like everything on each other. And my girlfriend at the time, Ashley, well, sorry, not at the time, but after I got out of beauty school, I started dating this girl, Ashley. And she was like, we were like, I think we were drunk. I think we were drinking. I don't think I was, though. I think she was. That makes sense because I quit drinking by that point. But anyway, she's like, you should wax my pussy. Let's do this. And we went in there and I gave her a Brazilian. I'd never done anything like that before. And you want to get to know somebody. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I've ever had that good of a look at anyone. But holy shit, man. She was drinking, but it looked painful. It looked painful. And I had no fucking idea what I was doing. And you shouldn't be putting wax on sensitive areas when you don't know what you're doing. I could have just like ripped her entire like fucking clit off or something. Or the hood at least. Oh my good God. So when I saw that, I was like bringing back memories. And then she, of course, violently reacts to it and accidentally cuts her sister's finger off. And her sister cannot resist. Once she tastes that blood, it's over for her. She knows what she needs to eat. And she fucking feasts on her sister's finger. And it's so sad. It's like they could have sewed that thing back on. And now she's going to lose her finger forever. And her sister even confronts her about that later. Like, you couldn't have fucking found something better to eat than me. But yeah, she's just, once it's on, it's on. And then they blame it on the dog. So the dog has to be put to sleep. And then the gay roommate notices that she's just dissecting her dog in their class. Completely disconnected. Like, does not give a fuck at all. She's just cutting her dog up like nothing. Oh, brutal. Brutal. And that was her dog, right? It had to have been. And then, yeah. And when the sister takes her out and kills that person for her to feed on, it's actually kind of like surprising, the denial that she brings, and is like throwing shade at her sister and is like, stop eating this person. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, I did this for you. I did this for us. Like, eat. This is what we have to do. But of course, she doesn't want to admit that's what she's going to do. She can't give in to it at this point. And then we cut to her listening to this insanely interesting song. Sounds Bang the Dead is like the chorus line. So it's all about like necrophilia and all sorts of wacky shit. Kind of reminded me of Code Blue by TSOL. I want to fuck the dead. But But yeah, Bang the Dead. These are some really interesting lyrics. But that scene's actually pretty hot. That scene's actually pretty hot. She's like making out with the mirror and like licking it and like listening to this really fucked up music. There's something wrong with me for sure, but I'm okay with that. And okay, I'll tell you why this movie gets a 10 out of a 10 is because when they're playing with the PlayStation remotes, you can clearly see that they're on. The light is on the controller. This kind of shit drives me crazy. Obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic here, but seriously, this is like the dumbest nitpicks I have. But like when people are playing with controllers and they're obviously not on, it drives me crazy. It's like people playing pool in movies. I can't stand it. It's like, play pool for real. Jesus, why is that so hard? And then she walks through the door and some dude splashes her in paint. And then they like throw her and another guy in a room. And one of them is blue and one of them is yellow. And he's like, don't come out until you're green. And so like the guy is making these like insane moves on her like instantly. And it's like, bro, no, absolutely not. What are you doing? But then I guess he learns his lesson because she bites a piece of his lip off, which comes back actually ironically because her dad has the same piece of his lip missing, so must run in the family. But that dude is way too pushy. And sex with chick who just bit a dude. Oh yeah, so the roommate has sex with her. He's gay. He has sex with her right after she bit like a huge chunk out of some guy's lip. So he's not into chicks, but the chick he does go to bang is one that he just saw bite someone's lip off. What? And then she tries to like bite him the whole time, and he's like yelling at her no, and then he's like mad at her for sex, and it's like, bro, you were totally into it. Come on now. Bullshit. Then there's a scene at a party where a woman is like licking a guy's eyeball up close. What kind of weird ass shit is that? Never. I've done some shit. I've been with some kinky women, but I've never had a woman be like, "Can I lick your eyeball?" Do you imagine? Be an interesting feeling. Let me tell you what. It'd be horrible. And then we flip. She gets really drunk at this party, and then she sees a video where her sister is like baiting her into eating a cadaver. Why there's a cadaver, like a human cadaver at a veterinarian school? Maybe they're like connected to a medical school as well. I don't know, whatever. But she's like baiting her sister into like eating the hand, and she's so drunk and going after it, it's like gonna ruin her reputation. And then the sisters fight, and they have this huge face off until they start tearing chunks off. So they like bite into each other's arms, and this seems to like almost put them in a sedated state, and they bond in a way through that experience. It's really interesting. Great scene. And yeah, this illness just seems to be hereditary. The mom has it, and both the daughters have it, and it's not. It doesn't really come to light unless they're eating meat. So it brings out the murderer in you. As I said, this is very pro-vegan, right? And then she wakes up next to her roommate, and he's dead. And he's all like, his legs have all been like eaten away. It reminds me of the scene in Hostel 2 with Victor Krum while he's being eaten alive. Brutal. And then I guess the sister killed him with a ski pole. It's an interesting weapon to use. And she just can't bring herself to kill her sister. Probably because she's too hot. And then we get to actually see her sister Alex naked. Um, and she's like completely comatose after she kills and eats her roommate, which is interesting because she's done it so much before. But is that like just how she reacts when she's eaten? She's just kind of sitting there, or does she have like regret, or does she like think her sister's gonna hate her and she just doesn't care anymore? She's like, fuck it, I don't want to live. This is what I have to do. This is what I have to do to survive. I don't know what that comatose feeling is like, but Alex takes the blame, and she goes into the prison system, and then we get the reveal that the dad has actually let the mom, or has been eaten periodically or all at once. I don't know if he survived an attack. I don't know if he lets the wife feed on him, but you know, I don't understand how neither one of these kids have ever seen their dad with their shirt off. Like, ever. I, yeah, I don't know. Maybe she started eating him recently, and, a year ago. I don't know. But the music in this movie is phenomenal. Beautiful, haunting, great stuff, man. Great performances all around. It's shot wonderfully. I love kind of the story and where it heads, and it's almost like a it's almost like a zombie movie. It's like a cannibal movie, but it's like it's contained to a genetic line, and only people who devour meat will get the craving. So really cool stuff. Big fan of everyone involved. The main two chicks, of course, all just great performances. And Ross, I appreciate the donation, and I appreciate the awesome request, because this is a fun film. Beautiful and chilling and poetic, and just gorgeous to look at for multiple reasons. So, anyways, I appreciate it, and I hope this audio sounds good. We shall see. Adios.